You look at your bank statement, you check every line, but then hours go by, and you don't even notice. Seneca pointed this out. He said people are careful with their property, they guard it. But with time they waste it. They're wasteful with the one thing you should be stingy with. We budget money down to the cent, but we spend our days like they'll never run out. That's the illusion. Stoicism tries to break that. Time is the currency you can't earn back. It's the non-renewable part of your life, so by the end, you'll have a framework. A way to guard your time more than your wealth. We'll see how remembering you will die can create urgency, how to take back your attention, what it means to live with nature, and what a well-spent day actually looks like for you. Stoicism makes a distinction between what we have and what money, possessions, status. The Stoics had a term for these: preferred indifference. They have value, practical value. They can make life easier, and it's reasonable to want them. But they're separate from your character. They aren't good or bad by themselves. What is good is your virtue, your reason, your integrity. That's the true good. And your time is the material for that. Time is the canvas for your character. It's not an indifferent, it's a finite piece of your existence. So when you spend an hour, you're spending a piece of your life. You're trading something that doesn't come back. Money comes and goes. You can earn more, you can lose it. Sometimes you get it back, but the hour you just spent, that's gone into what Marcus Aurelius called the river of time. He wrote to himself, remember how long you've been delaying, how many extensions the gods gave you. And you didn't use them. He wasn't talking about a financial deadline. He meant the project of becoming who you are. This confusion of value, it creates a kind of poverty. You can be rich in currency and poor in life. Seneca saw this. He saw people who were careful with their vaults, but who squandered their days. They knew the price of everything, but not the value of what mattered. Think about your own reactions. If you lose your wallet, there's anxiety. You retrace your steps, you cancel cards. You feel that loss, but if you lose an hour or 3 to scrolling, to a draining conversation, to a meaningless task, there's often just a vague unease. A shrug, we write it off, but which is the greater loss? The wallet held currency, a tool. The hours held your attention, your energy, your life. They held potential. For connection, for learning, for peace, for progress you can't get back. So here's a simple audit. Look back at yesterday. Think of one thing you bought. A coffee, a lunch, a subscription. Now think of one specific hour you spent. Which of those feels more aligned with the person you're trying to become? The answer tells you where your valuation really is. Thinking about death, it doesn't have to be something dark. There's this Stoic idea, Memento Mori. Remember you will die. It sounds heavy, but it's actually a kind of liberation. It's a tool for guarding your time, because when you really accept your days are finite, every hour gets heavier. Every choice gets clearer. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, he kept this thought close. He wrote in his private journal, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, what you say and think. He wasn't writing from fear. It was a daily compass, a filter. If you could leave life right now, would you be proud of what you were just doing? Would you be at peace with that last hour? That question cuts through noise. It separates what's essential from what's just urgent or what's unimportant. That difficult conversation you're avoiding, that creative project you keep putting off, that quiet moment with someone you love, Memento Mori brings these up. It asks, if not now, then when? We often live like we have unlimited tomorrows. We delay our best work, our hardest apologies, our deepest joys. We put them off for a future date that isn't promised. This practice shatters that illusion of endless time. It creates a gentle urgency, not a frantic rush, a focused, deliberate pace. Here's a simple way to bring it into your day. Set one daily alarm on your phone. Don't label it with a task, label it with a question. Call it your Memento Mori alarm. When it goes off, wherever you are, just pause. Look at what you're doing. Ask yourself, is this how I would spend this hour if I knew it was limited? The answer isn't always no. Sometimes you're in the middle of something meaningful. It affirms your focus. Other times it's a nudge to put down the distraction, to end the pointless scrolling, to step away from the draining complaint, and to turn towards something that matters. This practice isn't about fear, it's about love, a love for the life you've been given, a respect for your time. That precious, non-renewable material. So take a moment now. If you truly internalized your time is finite, what is one thing you would stop doing today? And what is one thing you would start? Stoicism says our power isn't about controlling events. It's about controlling our response, and time is where that response happens. That's the dichotomy of control. It's the most practical tool for guarding your time. The philosopher Epictetus, he was born into hardship. He laid this out with stark clarity. Some things are up to us, he said, and some things are not. Our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, in short, our own actions, those are up to us. Our body, our property, our reputation, our public office, those are not entirely up to us. Time itself belongs to that second category. You can't stop its flow. You can't add more hours to the day. That's outside your control, but your attention, your effort, your choices within those hours, that is your sovereign territory. Your time is the sphere where your control is absolute. Think of it like being given a plot of land. You didn't choose the size of the plot. You didn't choose the quality of the soil or the weather that comes. Those are your external conditions. That's your allotted time. But what you plant there, how you tend it, where you direct your labor, that is entirely up to you. Fretting over the size of the plot is a waste of your energy. Complaining about the rain is a waste of your focus. Your job is to cultivate your patch with excellence regardless. This is how we redeem time we think is lost. Take a common frustration, a traffic jam. The delay itself is not up to you. It's an external event. You can spend that 20 minutes in a state of internal conflict. Complaining, gripping the wheel, wasting your mental and emotional energy, that is a choice. Or you can accept the delay as a fact, and within that new reality, you can choose your response. You could listen to an audiobook that teaches you something. You could use the quiet to reflect on your day. You could simply practice being present. Observing without judgment. In the first scenario, you lose the time and your peace. In the second, you transform lost time into found time. You haven't controlled the event, but you have mastered your experience of it. This framework turns the feeling of not having enough time inside out. Often, what we're really lacking is not time, but clarity about what is within our control. We say we don't have time to exercise, to read, to start a project. But what we mean is we haven't chosen to guard our attention from other claims on it. We haven't drawn a firm boundary around our sphere. The distraction, the unnecessary meeting, the endless scroll, these are not forces that steal our time. They are invitations we consistently accept. Epictetus warned us to be rigorous here. He said, if you are distracted by external things, you must realize the problem is within you. In your own faculty of judgment, your attention is the gatekeeper. So here's a reflective prompt, a practical application of this dichotomy. What is one area where you consistently complain about not having time? Is it for deep work, for family, for rest? Now look closer. Is the lack truly about the clock, or is it about your choices within the clock? What external event, what perceived obligation are you allowing to dictate your internal focus? The moment you identify that, you reclaim a piece of your sovereignty. You move from being a victim of time to being the guardian of your moments within it. This shift is subtle, but its effect is profound. It turns time from a tyrant into your most fertile ground. Seneca saw this busy poverty everywhere. In that letter on the shortness of life, he starts with a contradiction. He says it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste so much of it. Life is long enough, he insists. It's been given to us in a generous measure. The complaint about a short life is a lie we tell ourselves. The real problem is that life is made short by our own mismanagement. We don't lack time. We lack command over it. His argument is a diagnosis. He sees people are busy, but busy with the wrong things, occupied with other people's agendas, with endless social obligations, chasing pleasures that leave them empty, procrastinating on what truly matters. We are given a life, but it's promptly taken over by ambition, by greed, by the expectations of others. We're like tenants who never move into our own house. We spend our days maintaining the property for everyone else, and then we wonder why we feel like we never lived there at all. He gives a powerful image. Life is divided into three parts: what is past, what is present, what is to come. The present is short, the future is doubtful, the past is certain. But we let the certain part, our past, slip through our fingers. We fail to claim it as our own because we weren't truly present in it. We were mentally elsewhere, worrying about a future we can't control or regretting a past we can't change. So the hours pass, but we do not inhabit them. That's the waste that shortens a life. Now, translate that to now. Think of the busy trap. Your calendar is full, morning to night. Meetings, notifications, errands, commutes. There's motion everywhere, but at the end of the week you feel a strange emptiness. You were productive, perhaps, but were you purposeful? You were efficient, but were you effective? That full calendar, Seneca would argue, is often the clearest sign of a life being taken over, its activity mistaken for achievement. It's the noise that drowns out the signal of what you value most. So what does using time well mean for Seneca? It's not about cramming more tasks in. It's about sovereignty, ensuring your hours are spent in pursuits that align with your nature and your reason. It means studying philosophy to understand life, not to debate it. Cultivating friendships that enrich, not just entertain. Doing work that contributes, not just consumes. It's the difference between being a spectator of your own life and being the author of it. Here's a prompt from his thinking. Define for yourself what using time well means, and be careful. Move beyond the easy answers of productivity, of checked boxes and completed lists. Think in terms of depth, not breadth, alignment, not just accomplishment. Does using time well mean feeling a sense of peace at the end of the day? Does it mean having one meaningful conversation? Does it mean making tangible progress on a skill that matters to you? Your definition becomes your compass. It shows you what to guard your time for and what to guard it from. Seneca's letter ends with a challenge. He says you are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. You waste time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while that day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last. The urgency he describes is not panic, it's clarity. It's the quiet understanding that a long life is not measured in years, but in moments fully claimed. Your attention, directed by your own will, is the act of claiming them. Regret steals your time twice, first when you live it, then when you keep going back to it. There's this Stoic idea, Amor Fati, love of your fate. It's not just accepting what happened, it's embracing it, seeing it as necessary, even beautiful for who it made you. With time, it's the defense against that double loss. The past is fixed, it's outside your control. To fight it is to argue with reality, and that's a waste of your attention, which is all you really have. Marcus Aurelius said not to be distressed by the past. It can't touch your mind. It's not happening now. Your mind is happening now. Your regret is a choice you're making right now. And it eats up the very thing you say you value. Amor Fati asks you to stop that, to look at the so-called wasted years, the job that didn't fit, the time lost to confusion. And to say, that was part of my path. I needed to walk through that to get here, to see it as tuition. You don't resent your tuition fees. They were the price of the knowledge. Those years were the tuition for your current wisdom. They taught you what you don't want. They showed you the cost of distraction. They gave you, by contrast, a clearer picture of what a meaningful hour feels like. Without that, you wouldn't have the conviction to guard your time now. The lesson is the value. The regret is just an unpaid bill you keep trying to send back. So try this. Pick one past period you call a waste, a stagnant job, a draining relationship, a year of drifting. Pull one concrete lesson from it, just one. Not a vague feeling, a clear principle. From that draining job, the lesson might be, I now know my energy plummets when my work lacks a sense of contribution. From that drifting year, I learned that without a self-directed project, my mind defaults to anxiety. That lesson is your tuition's yield, the wisdom bought with those lost days. Name that lesson and your relationship to that time changes. It's not just a loss anymore. It's the necessary ground where that understanding grew. You can thank that period for its teaching. And in doing that, you release the regret. You stop paying the debt a second time. You take back the attention you were spending on yesterday and pour it into the hour in front of you. That's how you love your fate, even the parts that felt misspent. You honor them as teachers, then you turn forward, using their hard-won lessons to build something new. Before you waste an hour, you waste a moment. You agree to a wasteful thought. That's the first discipline. The Stoics called it the Discipline of Assent. It's the gatekeeper for your mental time. Every external thing, every word someone says, every delay, it arrives first as an impression. Just data, it's neutral. But then, in a flash, we attach a judgment. This is unfair. This person is rude. This ruins everything. That judgment, that automatic commentary, is where we lose time. We give the impression immediate citizenship in our mind, and then we spend the next hour or the whole afternoon paying taxes to it, in worry, in replaying conversations. In simmering anger, that's the leak. You're not just guarding your calendar, you're guarding the quality of the moments inside it. Epictetus put it clearly. He said, people are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. The event itself is outside your control, but your view, your judgment, your assent to a particular interpretation, that's your domain. That's your mental real estate, and you are the landlord. You decide what gets to stay, what occupies space. Consider a common thing. You get a brief, curt email from a colleague. The impression is just words on a screen. The data is neutral, but the automatic judgment might be, they're disrespecting me, they're undermining my work. If you assent to that, you've just leased a part of your mind to a conflict that might not even exist. The next hour is spent mentally drafting rebuttals. Feeling your pulse quicken, your focus shatters. You've paid for that email with your peace and with your time. The Stoic practice is to catch that judgment at the door. To pause, to examine it, to ask, is this necessarily true? What other interpretation is possible? Maybe they're rushed, maybe the tone is a misunderstanding. By withholding immediate assent, you reclaim your inner space. You choose not to furnish that empty room with drama. This isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about intercepting the automatic story that creates the emotion. It's the difference between feeling a spark of irritation and pouring gasoline on it. By narrating a tale of injustice, the time you save is immense. Think of all the mental hours spent on jealousy over someone else's success, on anxiety about a future that may never happen, on resentment over a past comment. That's your life force, your attention being spent on phantoms. Epictetus said to treat disturbing impressions like a passing stranger. You acknowledge them at the gate, but you don't invite them in for dinner. You don't give them a tour of your house. So here's a practical thing, a reflective prompt. In the next 24 hours, you'll encounter a trivial annoyance, a slow line, a misplaced item, a minor criticism. when you feel that first spark, that initial judgment rising, pause. Just for 3 seconds in that space, consciously choose. You can assent to the judgment that this is a catastrophe and lease your next 30 minutes to frustration. Or you can simply note the impression. This is a delay, this is a missing key, this is one person's opinion, and then let the impression pass by like a cloud. Don't grant it citizenship, don't build it a home in your mind. The moment you succeed, even once, you'll feel a sudden expansion. You've just reclaimed a piece of your life. You've stopped a leak of your most precious resource before a single hour could drain away. That's the profound economy of guarding your assent. It's where your sovereignty over time truly begins. What you want most, if it isn't time well spent, then you're wanting your own depletion. That's the Stoic discipline of desire. It asks you to look at what you're chasing. Because your desires run your time, they decide where your hours go. If you want external validation above all, your time goes to performing for an audience. If you want endless comfort, your time goes to avoiding any discomfort. The Stoics said most of our suffering, most of our wasted time, comes from wanting things that aren't up to us. Things like wealth, fame, the approval of others, these are the preferred indifference. They're fine to have but dangerous to crave, because when you crave what you can't control, you hand over the reins. You become a slave to circumstance. Your time isn't yours anymore. It's spent in the anxious pursuit of a reward that might never come, or that might vanish once you have it. Epictetus was direct. He said freedom is secured not by fulfilling your desires, but by removing desire. He meant removing misplaced desire, the desire for externals. Instead, you have to limit your desire to what's within your power, your own actions, your judgments, your character, your use of this very moment. When you desire only to act with virtue, with reason, with integrity, right now you're free. Your time becomes an expression of that freedom, not a ransom paid for a future prize. Consider the classic trade, the desire for a major promotion. It dangles a future of prestige and security. But it demands a price: 80-hour work weeks for years, missed family dinners, a mind that never truly disengages. You're trading the solid, irreplaceable hours of your present life for a potential future condition. The Stoic question isn't whether the promotion is good or bad. It's a preferred indifferent. The question is what you're sacrificing to get it. And if that sacrifice of your time, your peace, your relationships is aligned with your nature. If you're trading the substance of your life for a shadow, this is the realignment. It means desiring a balanced life rich in learning and connection more than you desire the corner office. It means desiring a calm mind more than you desire being right in every argument. It means desiring a day well lived more than you desire a day that looks impressive to others. Your desires are a compass. They point to where you believe value lies. If your compass points only to external markers, you'll wander, spending your days digging in empty fields. Realign the compass to point inward, to the quality of your effort, to the depth of your understanding, to the sincerity of your connections. Suddenly, the way you spend your time clarifies. An hour spent in patient listening becomes more valuable than an hour spent networking for advantage. An evening spent reading a challenging book becomes more fulfilling than an evening lost in hollow entertainment. You're no longer depleted by your desires, you're fueled by them. So here's a prompt, a practical audit. Take a quiet moment and list your top 3 desires. Be brutally honest. What do you find yourself yearning for most often? Now, for each one, ask a simple, revealing question. How much of my time does this desire truly deserve? If your first desire is financial independence, how many of your waking hours this week were spent in aligned, meaningful action toward that? Or were they spent in worry, in distraction, in tasks that felt like obligations? If your desire is for a loving relationship, how many hours were spent cultivating presence and patience with those already in your life? The gap between your stated desire and your actual time investment is where the waste happens. It's where you're desiring one thing but spending your life on another. Close that gap. Either change the desire to fit the life you're actually living, or change the life to honor the desire that matters. This is the discipline. It turns desire from a master that consumes your time into a servant that guides its worthy use. Guarding your time selfishly misses the point. The Stoics saw time as a currency, but for the communal good. That's the final discipline, the discipline of action. It's the whole purpose of all that guarding. You don't build a fortress around your hours just to sit inside alone. You guard them so you have something of value to give. The Stoics had a word for this. Cosmopolis. It means you're a citizen of the world. Your time isn't just private property. It's a resource for the community you belong to. To use it wisely means to use it socially. For the benefit of others, that completes the circle. It turns the guarded hour from a personal victory into a shared one. Marcus Aurelius started his days with a reminder. He'd tell himself, when you wake up, you're rising to do the work of a human being. What is there to complain about if you're doing what you were born for? And what was he born for? Not for idle pleasure or private gain, but to act for the common good, to be useful. He saw his time, even as emperor, as a trust. A loan from the universe to be spent in service. That reframes everything. Guarding your time isn't about hoarding. It's about stewardship. You're the caretaker of these hours, and your duty is to invest them where they yield a return for the whole. Think of it like this. You've cleared your schedule of distractions. You've reclaimed your attention. You now have a block of pristine, focused time. What's the highest use for it? The Stoic answer is often an outward one. Use it to teach someone a skill you have. Use it to listen, truly listen to a friend. Use it to create something that makes a common space better. Use it to perform a necessary task that eases a burden for your family or colleagues. In these acts, your time gains a meaning that self-focused pursuits can't provide. It connects you. It roots your existence in something larger than your own story. This isn't about grand gestures. It's about the micro actions of daily life. Holding the door with a smile, writing a thoughtful note, patiently explaining a concept to a coworker, sharing a resource without being asked. In each of these, you're spending your most guarded asset, your attention, your moment, on another person. You're declaring that their well-being is part of your own, that their flourishing matters to your cosmopolis. That transforms mundane interactions into ceremonies of citizenship. So here's a final, practical prompt from this framework, a question to carry. How can you convert 30 minutes of your guarded time this week into an action that benefits your community? Your community could be your household, your neighborhood, your online group, your workplace. The action could be tangible, like organizing a shelf for your family or volunteering at a library. Or it could be intangible but profound, like dedicating a half-hour conversation to deeper questions and offering your full, undistracted presence. The form matters less than the intention. The intention to spend your finite currency on the common good. When you do this, you'll feel a shift. The hour you spent helping won't feel like a subtraction from your life. It will feel like an addition because you weren't just spending time. You were investing it in the fabric of your shared world. You were doing the work of a human being. And in that work, you find the deepest reason to guard your time well. Not to possess more of it for yourself, but to have more of it to give. There's a Stoic practice for this, a kind of pre-game ritual for the day. It's called Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, but the point isn't to dwell on fear. It's to build a defense for your time. You mentally rehearse the day's possible disruptions before they happen. You anticipate the time wasters. You pre-commit to your priorities. You inoculate your focus. Seneca talked about anticipating fortune's slings and arrows. He didn't mean to live in anxiety. He meant to remove their power to surprise you, to keep them from knocking you off course. Apply that to your daily landscape. The boring meeting that could drain your afternoon, the sudden urge to check social media when the work feels hard, the colleague who drops by with a quick question that isn't quick. These are the modern slings and arrows. They aren't evils, but they are thieves of attention. Premeditatio means seeing them coming. It means walking through the scenario in your mind. Not with dread, but with calm strategy. You decide your response in advance, so in the moment you don't have to decide. You just execute your pre-written script. Think of it like a fire drill. You don't conduct a fire drill because you expect a fire today. You do it so that if the alarm sounds, your body knows what to do. Your mind doesn't panic, it moves with practiced clarity. Premeditatio is a focused drill for your day. You visualize the alarm, the ping of a distracting notification, the feeling of boredom during a tedious task, and you rehearse your disciplined response. You see yourself noticing the urge, acknowledging it, and then gently returning to your planned work. This mental rehearsal builds a neural pathway. It makes the guarded choice the easier choice, the more automatic choice. Here's a practical application. Tonight, before you sleep, take 2 minutes, visualize your tomorrow. See one specific segment that's crucial, maybe a 90-minute block you've reserved for deep work. Now premeditate the most likely interruption. Maybe it's an internal one. The thought, this is too difficult, I'll just check the news for a minute. Or an external one, your phone buzzing with a message. In your mental rehearsal, see the interruption arrive, then see yourself enacting your pre-committed defense. For the internal urge, your script might be a single sentence. This feeling is temporary, proceed for 5 more minutes. For the phone, your script is a physical action. Phone on silent, face down, out of sight. You've already won the battle in the theater of your mind. The actual event is just a performance of your victory. This practice transforms your relationship with potential distractions. They stop being unexpected attacks on your time. They become anticipated scenarios you're prepared for. You move from being reactive to being the architect of your day's flow. So here's a reflective prompt, your focused drill for the coming day. Identify one major time waster you're almost certain to encounter tomorrow. It could be a habitual procrastination trigger, a known energy-draining conversation, or a period of unstructured time. Now, write down in one clear sentence your stoic response. Your pre-committed action. Keep it simple, keep it kind. The act of writing it seals the commitment. Tomorrow, when that moment arrives, you won't be deciding in the heat of the moment. You'll simply be remembering who you decided to be. From the perspective of the cosmos, is that urgent email actually urgent? That's the Stoic view from above. It's a mental exercise. It shrinks your daily anxieties down to their true size. It's a shift in altitude for your mind. You start by zooming out from the immediate frustration. That tense meeting, that overflowing inbox, you pull back to see your whole week, then your entire life as a single arc. You pull back further. You see the span of human history. Then the planet, then the vast, silent expanse of the cosmos. From that vantage point, the drama of the moment loses its grip. The perceived emergency starts to look like what it often is. A temporary configuration of atoms, a brief flicker in an unimaginably long story. Marcus Aurelius used this perspective as an anchor. He would remind himself to look at things as if seeing them from a high place. To observe the endless array of ceremonies, the hustle of life, the conflicts, all from above. He saw the tiny figures on the shore, the fleets coming and going, the births and passings of generations. From there, he asked himself a question: what is truly worth my disturbance? What is worth the expenditure of my finite attention? The answer was almost always the same: only my own character, only my capacity for reason and justice. Everything else was scenery. This cosmic zoom out wasn't about nihilism. It wasn't to say nothing matters, it was to calibrate what matters most. It filters the essential from the merely noisy. Apply this to a stressful week ahead. You have a dozen deadlines, social obligations, chores piling up. It feels like a mountain. Now take the view from above. See that week as one of thousands in your life. See your city from a satellite view, millions of others having their own equally pressing weeks. See the planet turning as it has for billions of years. From there, ask a question: which of those dozen tasks are truly connected to your virtue, to your core relationships, to your lasting contribution? You'll likely find that many are just busy work. Societal scripts, fear-based reactions, they are the sand that fills the jar, leaving no room for the stones. This perspective doesn't tell you to neglect your responsibilities. It tells you to classify them correctly, to see the difference between a genuine duty and a self-imposed drama. It frees up mental space and actual time for the few things that hold weight from a cosmic standpoint. So here is a practical experiment. Think of one current worry, one urgent task consuming your thoughts. It could be a work conflict, a financial concern, a social slight. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Conduct the view from above. Mentally zoom out from the feeling. See yourself in the room, then the building, then the city from a plane window. See the continent at night, a swirl of lights. See the blue marble of Earth hanging in the black silence. Hold that image. Now look back at your initial worry. Note what happens. Does its emotional charge lessen? Does its claim on your time seem as absolute? The goal isn't to dismiss the issue. It's to see it in its proper proportion. This creates a spaciousness in your mind, and in that space, you can choose more wisely how to spend your next hour. Leisure without study is death. That's Seneca, and he wasn't speaking in metaphors. He meant that a part of you stops existing when your free time has no purpose. That's the Stoic idea of Otium. It's the highest use of the time you've protected. It's not laziness. It's not just entertainment. It's active leisure. Focused, dedicated to your own cultivation. You guard your time from trivial things, not to create an empty space, but to create a sanctuary, a space for philosophy, for deep reflection, for the kind of activity that returns you to yourself more whole than you started. Seneca said the wise person is always at leisure. That sounds impossible until you understand his definition. It doesn't mean they're idle. It means they're in command of their own mind. Their attention isn't scattered by outside demands or internal noise. So even in busyness, they have an inner leisure, a quiet place where reflection lives. For the rest of us, we have to carve out the external conditions to build that inner state. We schedule Otium to practice being that wise person. Now contrast that with how leisure is usually spent. Binge watching a show, for example. There's nothing wrong with it. But notice what it does to your attention. It scatters it. It pours a narrative into your mind and leaves little room for your own thoughts to form. You become a passive recipient. True Otium demands you become an active participant. That could be reading a book that challenges you, where you pause to think and take notes. It could be a long walk in nature without headphones, letting your mind wander and solve a problem. It could be writing in a journal to clarify your values. It could be a deep, uninterrupted conversation with a friend about something that matters, not just the day's events. In these acts, you're not consuming. You're creating understanding, creating peace, creating insight. That's why guarding your time is so critical. You're not being selfish, you're being strategic. You're preserving the raw material for your own becoming. Every hour you reclaim from a draining obligation or a mindless scroll is an hour you can convert into Otium, into fertile ground where your character grows. So here's a practical step. This week, schedule one single hour of true Otium. Put it in your calendar like any important meeting. Then define it. What activity will fill that hour? Be specific. Will it be an hour with a philosophical text and a notebook? An hour of sketching or playing an instrument, not for performance but for the flow of it? An hour of silent meditation or a walk where you observe the world without judgment? Name it, then honor that appointment with yourself. Protect it from the urgent but unimportant. In that hour, you're not doing nothing, you're doing the most important thing. You're studying life itself, and in doing that, you defy Seneca's warning. You make sure your leisure isn't a death, it's a quiet, powerful kind of rebirth. You can be a billionaire and still be poor in time. That's what Stoicism would call real poverty. It's not about romanticizing having nothing. It's a different way of seeing wealth. Your wealth isn't what's in your bank account. It's the hours you haven't given away. The hours you still have for what actually feeds you. The real shortage isn't money. It's something deeper. It's a life that's full of things to do but empty of meaning. A calendar that's packed but a spirit that's hungry. That's the poverty of time. It's when you're so busy keeping the outside of your life running that the inside, your mind, your character, your calm just sits there and rusts. Musonius Rufus said it clearly. He said a good life comes from the state of the soul, not from what we own or our position. If the soul is ignored, if it gets no reflection, no moral work, then we are poor. No matter what we have, Epictetus said something similar. He told his students the body could be chained, but the mind could be free, but only if we look after it. To have a fortune and a frantic mind is to live in a golden cage. You have everything to live with and nothing to live for. Think about an executive with a huge salary. Their schedule is perfectly optimized, back to back from morning to night, but they haven't had a quiet meal with their family in months. Their sleep is broken by worry. They only read reports, never poetry or philosophy. They're rich in money but poor in presence. Now think of someone with less money. They protect their evenings for talking, their mornings for a walk, their Sunday afternoons for reading and thinking. Their bank account is smaller, but their life is rich in what the Stoics cared about: self-possession, connection, a mind that's settled. Which person is actually wealthy in that view? This poverty shows up in small ways every day. It's that constant feeling of being late, of rushing. It's not being able to sit quietly for 10 minutes without picking up a phone. It's putting off that real conversation, that creative idea, that moment of thanks because there's always one more email. You don't lack time. You're giving all of it to maintaining the outside version of you, and none of it to building the inside. Your soul is on a starvation diet. It's only getting the fast food of notifications and small wins. So here's a way to check. A way to measure your own time poverty. Look at the last week, not at your tasks but at your life. What essential thing for your humanity got the least attention? Was it reflection, the quiet space to ask if you're on the right path? Was it deep connection, an unhurried hour with someone you love where you were really there? Was it virtue, an intentional act of patience or courage that needed your full attention? Name what was missing. That name is the first step out. It turns a vague feeling into a specific place. A place where your protected time needs to go next. You can't guard a castle that's already fallen. You can't guard one that isn't built yet. You can only guard the gate you're at. And that gate is the present moment. That's the core of it. Stoicism keeps pointing us back there, to this one point in time where our power actually is. The past is a memory, it's a story we tell. The future is a projection, it's a guess. In a real sense, they're both imaginary. They're castles you can't defend because they aren't physically here. But this breath, this sensation, this task right in front of you, that's the gate. That's where you stand guard. Anxiety about tomorrow, regret about yesterday, they aren't just emotions. They're thieves. They slip past your watch and steal the only currency you can actually spend, the now. They get you to pay for phantoms with your real attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote a simple command to himself: confine yourself to the present. He didn't mean ignore planning. He meant don't let your consciousness, your living self, get kidnapped by times that aren't here. Your agency, your ability to choose and to act and to guard, it only works in the present tense. Epictetus put it as focus on the task at hand. When you're eating, eat. When you're walking, walk. When you're bathing, bathe. Don't let your mind run ahead to the meeting after lunch while you're still chewing. Don't replay an old argument while you're trying to listen to a friend. That mental scattering is a failure of guardianship. It's leaving your post at the gate to chase shadows in the fields. So single tasking isn't a productivity hack. It's a form of temporal sovereignty. It's the act of saying, for this duration, I'm placing my full attention on this one thing. I'm guarding this slice of the present from all other claims. Take a simple meal. You can eat while watching a screen, your mind elsewhere, the taste barely registered. The time passes, but you didn't inhabit it. Or you can choose to guard that meal, to notice the flavors, the textures, the warmth, to be present with whoever's at the table. In that second choice, you're not just consuming food. You're investing your attention. You're making those 20 minutes count as lived experience. The same principle applies to a work task, a conversation, a moment waiting in line. The present moment is the raw material. Your focused attention is the craft. So here's a direct practice, a drill for guarding your gate. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Choose one simple activity. It could be drinking a glass of water slowly. It could be looking out the window and observing what you see without labeling it. It could be listening to a single song with your full attention. For those 5 minutes, your only job is to do that one thing. When your mind wanders to a past regret or a future worry, and it will, gently note it and return to your post. Return to the sensation of the water, the shapes outside, the notes of the music. You're not trying to achieve perfect focus. You're practicing the act of returning. That act of return is the very essence of guarding the present. Note how it feels. Does time seem to stretch? Does the simple act feel more substantial? That's the weight of reality, found only at the gate you're at. Your attention is a kingdom, and Stoicism says you're meant to be its sovereign, not the one under siege. That's the inner citadel. It's not a physical place. It's a state of mind you build, a fortress of focus. An external chaos can't breach it unless you lower the drawbridge yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this. He said people look for retreats in the country, by the sea, in the hills, but he called that unphilosophical. You can retreat into yourself at any moment. There's no retreat more peaceful than your own soul. That soul, that inner space, is your citadel. It's where you go to find silence, to find clarity. To guard the time that's truly yours. The barbarians at the gate now, they're not ancient tribes. They're the modern onslaught, the ping of a notification. The colleague's urgent but unimportant request, the internal chatter of anxiety. They lay siege to your attention, trying to storm the walls. Your sovereignty is measured by how well you man those walls. By your ability to say, this is my time for a purpose, and I will not be diverted. Building this starts with recognizing what's truly yours, your judgments. Your choices, your focus, these are inside the citadel. The opinions of others, the endless news, the fluctuating moods of the day, these are outside. They can shout at the gates, but they can't enter unless you grant them entry. Marcus reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize that, and you find strength. So how do you fortify this in practice? It begins with daily rituals, not grand gestures, small, non-negotiable blocks of time you treat as sacred. The Stoics called these periods of study. We might call them deep work sessions. The label doesn't matter, the sanctity does. This is time you schedule and defend. Like a sovereign protecting their throne room, for 1 hour your email is closed, your phone is in another room, the world's demands are held at the gate. Inside, it's just you and the task that demands your full presence. It could be writing, planning, learning, creating. The activity is chosen by you. For your own growth, during this time, if your own mind wanders, if the internal barbarians of distraction arise, you guide it back, gently, firmly. This is the discipline. It's not about never being distracted. It's about the speed and certainty with which you return to your post. So here's a reflective prompt, a way to begin your own fortification. Design one single rule for your inner citadel. one condition under which you will not allow your focus to be breached. Make it simple, concrete, and utterly non-negotiable. For example, my rule is, during my first morning writing hour, the internet stays disconnected. No exceptions. Or my rule is, when I'm having dinner with my family, my phone stays silenced and out of sight. The entire meal. Choose your rule, write it down. This rule is your first stone in the wall. It's your declaration of sovereignty over your own attention. It turns the abstract citadel into a lived, daily defense of your most precious resource. When you waste time, you're not only hurting yourself, you're making a small void in the universe. The Stoics had a word for this connection: Sympatheia. Everything in the cosmos is woven together, like a single thread in a huge tapestry, and your time is one of those threads. Your attention, what you do, your energy, it's not separate. It's part of a larger pattern, the rational principle, the logos that orders it all. Wasting your thread weakens a piece of the design. Using it with purpose strengthens it. It adds to the harmony. Marcus Aurelius thought about this. He wrote that all things are interwoven and the bond is sacred. Nothing is unconnected. Everything is coordinated for the good of the whole. He saw his own role as emperor as one specific function in that coordination. His duty was to play his part well, to act with justice and reason, not for his own glory, but because the health of the whole depended on it. Your role isn't an emperor's, but the principle is the same. You have a function, a place in the pattern, and your time is the material you use to fill it. An hour spent in mindless distraction, you're not just off task. You're out of tune. You create a moment of dissonance where there could have been harmony. Think practically. An hour spent well learning a skill isn't just a personal win. It's an investment in the tapestry. That skill might help you solve a problem for a coworker next month. It might let you build something for your community next year. It could give you the patience to teach a child or the insight to calm a friend. The ripple goes far beyond you, and an hour wasted in bitterness or complaint, it doesn't just poison your mind. It radiates, it affects your tone with the cashier, it dims your presence with your family, it withholds the positive contribution you could have made. The void isn't empty, it often fills with a subtle negative charge that others feel. This changes the choice. Guarding your time stops being just a personal discipline. It becomes a cosmic courtesy, a duty to the logos, to the rational order you're part of. You honor the weave by making sure your thread is strong, vibrant, placed with intention. So here's a way to feel that connection. Look at tomorrow. Pick one single hour you plan to guard carefully. Then trace one possible ripple. If you use that hour well for focused work, for deep learning, for a kind action, how might that positive effect touch someone else by this time next week? The connection doesn't have to be dramatic. The focused work might lead to clearer instructions for a teammate. The deep learning might give you one sentence that changes someone's view. The kind action might lift a spirit who then lifts another. See your hour not as a closed container, but as a stone dropped into a pond. The Sympatheia is the water. Your duty is to choose the stone with care. Epictetus talked about wealth. He said it's not about having a lot of things, it's about having few wants. You can apply that to your hours. Your wealth in time isn't about how many tasks you finish. It's about how many distractions you've taken away. That's the art of subtraction. So guarding your time isn't really about adding things. It's not about more productivity systems, more calendars. It's an act of stripping things away. You protect what's valuable by clearing the space around it, by removing the obligations that don't matter, the trivial pursuits, the mental clutter that takes your attention without you even agreeing to it. This is Stoic minimalism for your days. It's voluntary simplicity, not as an aesthetic choice, but as a strategy for freedom. Seneca championed this. He saw that our desires were the real chains, our endless wants. In his letters, he wrote about reducing desires to simplify life. He argued a man is rich based on the number of things he can afford to let alone. Not what he can buy, but what he can ignore, what he can confidently say no to. That creates a kind of internal spaciousness. When you subtract a pointless commitment, you don't just free up an evening on the calendar. You free up the mental energy that was spent dreading it, or preparing for it, or recovering from it. You reclaim that cognitive load. That's the real yield. Time and the peace to actually be in it. Think about your own landscape, the subscriptions you never use but keep paying for, mentally and financially. The weekly meeting that's long outlived its purpose. The habit of checking news feeds that only seed anxiety. The social obligations you fulfill out of faint guilt, not genuine desire. Each one is a small leak, a tiny tax on your attention. Individually, they seem insignificant, but together they form a constant background hum, a hum of obligation that drowns out the signal. The signal of what truly matters to you. Subtraction is the act of silencing that hum. So what does this look like in practice? Start with a stop-doing list. Not a to-do list. Sit down and write out all the activities and habits and commitments that drain your time but add little to your life or to your character. Be ruthless. Is it that podcast you listen to out of habit, not interest? The group chat that buzzes with trivialities all day? The insistence on doing a household chore in an overly complex way? Name one thing you can stop this week. The digital declutter is another powerful subtraction. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Turn off non-essential notifications. Create 1 hour of phone-free space in your morning or your evening. This isn't about rejecting technology. It's about rejecting its default claim on your attention. You are taking back the deed to your own mind. Here's a task, a reflective prompt for true time wealth. Identify one single commitment or subscription or habitual time waster you can subtract this week. Don't just think about it, decide on it. It could be leaving a social media platform that no longer serves you. It could be resigning from a committee that's become pure bureaucracy. It could be as simple as turning off the television during dinner, reclaiming that space for conversation or for quiet. Once you choose it, execute the subtraction. Then notice what happens. The time you get back is a gift, but more importantly, notice the feeling in the space that's left. That quiet isn't emptiness. It's potential. It's the cleared ground where something essential can finally grow. A Stoic trains for time. It's not just management, it's ascesis. That's the ancient idea. And it's not a punishment, it's a spiritual exercise, a regimen for the soul. Your time is the arena. Think of a disciplined athlete. They don't just wake up and win. They commit to daily practice, grueling practice. They build capacity through repetition. They fail, they adjust, they try again. The Stoics saw a good life the same way. Epictetus loved this analogy. He started in hardship. He said if you want to be a wrestler, you train. You follow a strict diet, you exercise, you obey your coach. You can't just show up on match day. Philosophy is like that. Living well is like that. You can't just want to be virtuous or focused or present. You have to train for it. Daily, your time is the equipment. Each decision to focus, to decline a distraction, to start a meaningful task, that's a rep. That's one more lift for your attention. The goal isn't a perfect day. It's building resilience, the instinct to make more days align with your purpose. That's the Olympics of life. The event is your entire existence. And the training happens in small moments. The morning you choose reflection over scrolling. The afternoon you protect for deep work. The evening you dedicate to connection. Those are your training sessions. Without them, you're a spectator, watching your life from the stands. So what does the training look like? It starts with a daily intention. Like an athlete with a workout plan, you set a clear, simple intention for your time, not a massive list, a single guiding principle. Today, my time will be spent with patience. Or today, I guard 1 uninterrupted hour for my most important project. That intention is your coach's instruction. it gives direction, then you execute. You meet the resistance, the lure of distraction, the pull of comfort, and you push through. That's the set, the strain, that's where the muscle is built. Finally, you review. The Stoics did this in their evening examination. You look back on your day like a coach reviewing tape, not with harsh judgment. With clear-eyed assessment. Where did my attention hold? Where did it wander? What knocked me off focus, and how did I respond? That review is your adjustment. It refines your technique for tomorrow. So here's a drill, a first one. Choose one small time exercise to practice daily for a week. Make it so simple you can't refuse. Maybe a 5-minute planning session each morning, writing that single intention. Maybe one 25-minute block of single-tasking work. Maybe one moment in the evening to ask, how did I spend my currency today? Commit to that one drill. Perform it with the consistency of an athlete showing up for practice, regardless of how they feel. That consistency over days and weeks forges the discipline. It turns the guarded use of time from a concept you admire into a capacity you own. Can you name anyone who values their time? That's what Seneca asks. And it points straight to the people around you. Who you give your time to changes it completely. A conversation can build something up or wear it down. The Stoics were careful about this. They chose who to be with. To protect your time, you have to protect it from certain people. It's not about being harsh. It's that your attention is your life. Some talks take that from you. Others give it back. They make it grow. Think of your energy like the hours in a day. It's limited. Every person you talk to either takes from it or adds to it. Complaining, gossip, constant negativity. These aren't just things people say. They steal from you. They take your time and they wear down your spirit. They pull you into problems that don't get solved, into judgments that aren't wise. You end up feeling emptier, more anxious, further from who you want to be. Seneca talked about this all the time. He said to avoid the crowd. Avoid talking with the many because you'll start to act like them. It's a slow infection. Stay long enough where people complain and you start to think that way too. Your own view gets darker. Your ability to act with reason gets smaller. So what do you do instead? Look for people who challenge you, who lift you up. Seneca said to associate with the wise, and if you can't find them near you, find them in books. Let the great minds from history keep you company. Reading Marcus Aurelius's journal is a conversation. Walking through Epictetus's ideas is time spent well. These are companions who ask for your best thought. They show you how to endure. They never waste your time on small things. This means changing how you see your plans. Stop thinking about what you owe people. Start thinking about what feeds you. Will this lunch, this call, this meeting make your time and character richer, or will it make them poorer? Is this person speaking with honesty? Do they listen? Do they make you think or want to do something? Or is the talk just a transaction? Is it draining? Is it built on shared unhappiness? You don't have to go to every argument you're asked to. You don't have to hold every grievance someone hands you. Guarding your time means knowing when to say no, when an invitation leads to a poorer spirit. So here's something to try, a practical step. Think of the people you see often, not everyone, just the regulars. Now sort them loosely into two kinds. People who, after you're with them, leave you feeling stronger, clearer, more yourself, and people who, after you talk, leave you feeling tired, uneasy. Diminished, this isn't calling people good or bad. It's just seeing what they do to your most important resource, your focused life. Once you see that pattern, you can choose. How do you change your time because of it? Can you give more to the connections that fill you up? Can you shorten the draining ones or change how they happen? Maybe you put a kind limit on certain subjects. Maybe you have a hard talk while walking, not over a long meal. You guard your time by choosing the company that forms it. You say you have no time, but you are time. That's the paradox. Your life isn't a container you fill. You are the hours. They're the substance of your existence. The Stoic view breaks the language of possession. You don't own time like a wallet. You are the unfolding of it. Each choice, each action is a brushstroke. You're painting the self moment by moment. To waste an hour, then, isn't a logistical error. It's an act of self-betrayal. You're betraying the material of your being. The ancient Stoics saw the soul as your governing principle. It's expressed through action, through your use of the present. Epictetus said you are not your body or your possessions. You are your faculty of choice. That faculty operates only in the now. So what you choose to do with this moment reveals your soul's current state. It shows what you truly value more clearly than words. When you procrastinate on something meaningful, you are, in that moment, being a person who values comfort over contribution. When you scroll mindlessly, you are being a person who accepts distraction over depth. This isn't a judgment, it's a mirror, a real-time reflection of character in motion. It reframes every complaint about time. I don't have time to exercise isn't a statement of fact. It's a confession of priority. A more accurate translation would be, in this arrangement of my life, I am not being a person who prioritizes my health. I don't have time to read becomes, I am not being a person who cultivates my mind through study. The shift is profound. It moves the locus of control from circumstance to identity. You are not a victim of a busy schedule. You are the author of the choices that created it, and you can rewrite the story, one present moment decision at a time. So try this reflective prompt. It's simple, but it cuts to the core. At the end of today, or even right now, complete this sentence based on what you've actually done. Today, I am being a person who let the answer come from your actions, not your intentions. Did you guard your focus? Did you act with patience? Did you create something? Did you connect deeply? The honest completion of that sentence tells you who you were today, and in that awareness lies the power to choose who you will be tomorrow. Fortune can flood your field, or it can parch it, but you're the one who chooses what to plant there. That's the Stoic separation. Time is the neutral ground. It's just the field. How much you get, the conditions, that's fortune. The Stoics called that haimamin, the fated order of things. You don't control the size of the field. You don't control the weather, but what you do on that land, the seeds you sow and tend with your own hands, that's your domain. They called that proherses. Your faculty of choice, and that distinction is the liberation. The liberation from anxiety about time. Worrying about how many years you have, that's like a farmer who spends all day staring at the sky, cursing the clouds, instead of working the soil he's been given. It's a surrender. Your power isn't in commanding the length of the season. It's in the diligence you bring to each day of planting. You can see two paths. One person gets a difficult prognosis, a signal their time may be more limited. That's fortune's weather, harsh and unforeseen, but with clear-eyed acceptance, they choose to plant their remaining days with intention. They mend relationships, they create art, they find quiet joy in ordinary moments. Their field might be smaller, but every inch is cultivated, profound care. Contrast that with someone granted decades of good health, but they live in a state of constant, low-grade fear about the future. They delay their dreams. They withhold affection. They fill their days with busy distraction, waiting for a perfect condition that never arrives. Their field is vast, but it lies fallow. Choked with the weeds of worry, the first person understands the lesson. They've separated the field from the planting. They've taken fortune's limitation and turned it into the reason for action. That's the practical heart of it. When you stop seeing time as the prize you're trying to win from an unpredictable universe and start seeing it as the arena you've been granted to exercise your character, everything changes. Anxiety about wasting your life melts away, replaced by a calm focus on the quality of this hour. You're no longer a gambler hoping for a lucky roll of the dice for more days. You're a gardener focused on the dignity and skill of your work, regardless of the season's length. The goal shifts from having time to using it well. Right now, so let this question guide your hands today. If you knew fortune would cut your time short, what would you start planting in your field this very season? Not in some distant future, but in the soil of this week. Would you plant seeds of patience with your family, seeds of courage in that project you've avoided? Seeds of stillness in your own mind, name one seed, and then, with the quiet determination of a gardener who trusts the work more than the weather, go and plant it. The evening examination, the Stoics practiced this. It's a review, not for guilt but as a strategic audit. You've been the sentry at the gate of your attention all day. Now you look back on your watch. Where did you stand firm? Where did you let something slip through? This practice closes the loop between intention and action. It turns experience into wisdom. Seneca had a nightly ritual. He would question himself, what bad habit did you cure today? What fault did you resist? In what way are you better? His teacher Sextius did the same, reviewing his entire day before sleep. It was about calibration, making sure his actions aligned with his principles. For guarding time, we can adapt this with 3 questions. First, what did I do well with my time today? Find one specific instance where your attention was fully aligned with your intention. Maybe it was a 20-minute block of work without checking your phone, or a conversation where you listened without planning your reply. Name it, acknowledge that victory. It reinforces the pathway of focus. Second, where did I let my time be stolen? Be specific but kind. Did you lose 40 minutes on social media after lunch? Did you agree to a meeting that could have been an email? Identify the breach, not to condemn but to understand its shape. Was it boredom, anxiety, a sense of obligation? Understanding the why disarms it. Third, how can I guard it better tomorrow? This is where the audit becomes a plan. Based on today's breach, what is one tiny adjustment? If social media stole time, maybe leave your phone in another room during deep work. If a draining conversation took too much, set a gentle time limit in advance. That adjustment is your repair to the gate. A practical way is a brief journaling ritual. 3 minutes. Don't list achievements. Focus on the quality of your attention. Write one sentence for each question. For example, I did well by fully focusing on my child's story at bedtime. I let time be stolen by scrolling news sites while waiting for coffee. I will guard better tomorrow by having a book on the counter instead of my phone. That's it. The power is in the consistency, not the volume. This nightly review transforms vague regret into precise insight. It turns yesterday's lost hour into tomorrow's guarded one. So tonight, before sleep, take those 3 minutes. Look back not as a judge, but as a wise advisor. Find your one clear moment of guardianship. Find your one clear moment of lapse, and with that clarity, decide on one small fortification for the day ahead. This is how you build, night by night, a life where your time is invested, not just spent. Marcus Aurelius told himself something straightforward. Don't talk about being a good man. Just be one. Apply that to your own work. Don't talk about the project, start it. For a Stoic, procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a failure to protect the moment in front of you. It's a quiet rebellion against your duty. You're refusing to accept the necessary task, the one that's right there. You're in disagreement with what is. And that argument inside you wastes the time you say is important. The Stoic answer isn't complicated. It's to act now on what you can control, on what is your duty. Epictetus taught his students to do the work of their position, to do it promptly, without complaint. He asked, what does it mean to be a citizen? It means you don't hold private interest. You don't deliberate as a detached person. You act like a hand or a foot. If a foot could think, it would never say, I won't walk today. It would just walk. That's its work. Your duty, your necessary task, is your work. To delay it is to argue with your own purpose. It's saying, I will not walk, when walking is the reason you exist. We often dress up procrastination. We call it preparation, waiting for the right mood, needing more information. but if you peel that back, you find a simple thing. Avoidance of discomfort, the discomfort of starting, the fear of doing it imperfectly, the mental friction of moving from thinking to doing. The Stoic would ask, is that discomfort within your control? Your reaction to it is, the small first action is, the story you tell yourself about the task, that is, you can choose to see the big project differently. Not as one huge burden, but as a series of duties, each in its own present moment. Your power is only in the next step, not the whole staircase, so make it practical. Take that thing you've been putting off, the report, the hard conversation, the creative work. Don't look at the whole thing, that's a future you can't control. Look only at the single, small action you can do right now. If the report is daunting, the first action is to open a blank document, write the title. That's it. If the conversation is looming, the first action is to decide on a time and place. Write that down. If the creative work feels blocked, the first action is to sit with the tools for 5 minutes. No expectation of a masterpiece, just the expectation of being there. You're not committing to the mountain, you're committing to placing one stone. This breaks the illusion. The overwhelming future, it brings your power back to the guarded present, where it always was. Here's a direct application, a prompt. Identify the one thing you're most clearly procrastinating on. Name it, then break its paralysis. Define the very first, tiny, physical step. It has to be so small it feels trivial, an action you can finish in 5 minutes or less. Your commitment isn't to finish the task today. Your commitment is to take that one step today. When you do that, you've done more than make progress. You've realigned with reality. You've accepted the duty of the present. You've stopped talking about what a guarded life looks like, and you've started to build one. Stone by deliberate stone. There's no such thing as empty time. There's only life, moment to moment. We divide our days into categories: work time, family time. And then we name whatever's left over: spare time, free time, downtime. We treat those scraps as weightless, as if they don't count, but for a Stoic, that's a dangerous illusion. Every single moment is a piece of your existence. There's no neutral ground. How you use the space between appointments, the minutes waiting in line, the quiet evening with nothing planned, that isn't just filler. It's the mortar between the bricks of your life, and the quality of that mortar determines the strength of the whole structure. Seneca saw this clearly. He warned against leaving the gaps of life empty. He wrote that people are careful with their property, but when it comes to wasting time, they're most wasteful with the one thing it's right to be stingy about. He wasn't just talking about big blocks of wasted days. He meant the small leaks, the 5 minutes here, the quarter hour there, the mindless entertainment we use to plug a gap. That choice, repeated, shapes the soul. It trains your attention to seek distraction. It teaches your mind that emptiness is to be avoided, even with something trivial. So when you pick up your phone to scroll during a commercial, you're not just killing time. You're making a statement about what that sliver of your life is worth. You're calling it disposable. This doesn't mean every second has to be productive in the usual sense. Intentional rest is sacred. True otium, that active leisure, is a high use of time. The key is the word intentional. Choosing to watch a beautiful film to be moved to think. That's different from channel surfing until something catches your eye. Choosing to sit and stare out the window, letting your thoughts settle. That's different from numbing out with repetitive games. One fills the gap with presence. The other fills it with avoidance. Look at the practical spaces where this illusion lives. Your daily commute. You can spend it listening to an audiobook that expands your understanding, or a podcast that challenges you, or even in purposeful silence to plan your day. That is using the time, or you can spend it mindlessly scrolling through social media, absorbing fragments of other people's opinions. That is surrendering the time. The same 20 minutes in a waiting room, you can use it to observe the room, to practice patience, to read a few pages of a book you carry for this purpose. Or you can fidget, check the clock every 30 seconds and feed a low-grade anxiety. Both are choices. Both shape the character you bring into the next moment. One builds resilience and focus, the other builds restlessness. So here's a simple audit, a reflective prompt for tomorrow. Carry a small notebook or use a note on your phone. Just for one day, track how you use your in-between times. The 5 minutes before a meeting starts, the time waiting for water to boil, the commercial breaks. The walk from your car to the door. Don't judge it in the moment, just note it. At the end of the day, look at the list. Ask one question of each fragment. Did this use of my time feel aligned with the person I'm trying to become? Did it contribute to my peace, my knowledge, my connection to the present? Or did it feel like an escape from it? The answer isn't about a perfect scorecard. It's about seeing the truth of where your life, in its raw, uncurated moments, is actually going. Because those moments aren't spare, they're the substance. The only reason to want money, morally, is to buy freedom for your time. That's the inversion. Wealth isn't the goal, it's a possible tool. A tool to buy back your most precious thing from the marketplace of necessity. The point isn't to pile it up. It's to reach a point of enough, where your time isn't held hostage by always needing to earn more. Musonius Rufus, who taught Epictetus, drew that line. He said we work for necessities, food, shelter, basic clothes, but we shouldn't work for luxury, because luxury demands endless work. It starts a cycle. You trade more and more of your life to keep up a standard of living, and it doesn't make you better, it just makes you busier. Seneca talked about the wise use of riches. To use them to live well, and living well for a Stoic means having space. Space for reflection, for virtue, for the people and the work that fit your nature. Money becomes a way to get that space. Think of it like this. A paycheck is hours of your life exchanged. You're trading your finite time for currency. So the Stoic question is, what are you buying with it? Are you buying more things that then ask for more of your time, to maintain them, insure them, worry over them? Or are you buying freedom, freedom from a job that drains you, so you can do work that feeds you? Freedom to hand off tasks you're not good at, like complicated repairs or tedious paperwork, and get those hours back for something you are good at. Freedom to take time for study or to be there for your family without that financial panic. That's using wealth as a lever to pry open more of your life for your own use. A practical way this shows up is lifestyle choice, choosing a simpler, more intentional life that needs less income. That directly cuts the amount of time you have to trade for money. It's a strategic downsizing of your needs to expand your control. This isn't poverty, it's precision. It's asking, what do I actually need to live well by my values, not by some social script? Maybe that's a smaller home that takes less time and money to keep up. Maybe it's fewer subscriptions, fewer new clothes, fewer meals out. Every cut in what flows out is a cut in what has to flow in. And that required inflow is your time. So here's a way to look at your own economy. Figure out, roughly, how much of your waking life is traded for money. Your work hours, your commute, time recovering from work stress, even time thinking about work problems. Then look at what that trade buys. Does the lifestyle it pays for create more time for your core values, for philosophy, for deep relationships, for service, or does it mainly fund a cycle? A cycle of maintenance and consumption that eats the very time you're trying to free. If the trade feels off, the Stoic inversion points away. Redirect the pursuit. Let the goal of any financial effort be to buy back your days, not just to decorate them. To guard your time is to live according to nature. That's the final idea. The goal is to live in agreement with nature, and your time is how you do that or how you don't. Nature means three things: your own human nature, rational, social, mortal. The nature of the world around you, and universal nature, the logos that orders everything. Guarding your time is aligning your daily rhythm with those three. So what does nature dictate? It dictates your finitude. You have a limited number of days. To live in agreement with that is to treat each day as precious. To use it with intention, not to live as if you were immortal. Nature dictates your social nature. You are part of a community. To live in agreement with that is to spend time in service, in connection, in strengthening those bonds, and nature dictates your capacity for reason. To live in agreement with that is to dedicate time to reflection, to learning, to making choices from wisdom, not impulse. A life that guards its time honors all three. It refuses to waste the finite. It invests in the social. It cultivates the rational. So a day in accordance with nature has a rhythm like the seasons. It begins with intention, a morning reflection to set your mind with reason. Then it moves into purposeful work, the fulfillment of your duty, your role in the community. That's followed by true leisure, otium, which isn't idleness. It's the active cultivation of your mind and spirit, reading, walking, creating. The day then flows into connection, time given to family and friends, honoring your social nature, and it ends with the evening examination, a review to see where you were in agreement and where you fell out of tune. This isn't a rigid schedule. It's a template of balance. Each component gets its due portion of your guarded attention. Duty, reason, self-cultivation, social bonds. You're not squeezing tasks in. You're allocating your life's currency according to your deepest design. So sketch out in your mind what a single natural day would look like for you. One fully in accordance with your rational and social nature. Not a fantasy of productivity, a realistic rhythm, meaningful work, reflective space, enriching leisure. Genuine connection. Where would your guarded time go? How would the hours feel different? That vision is your compass. It turns living according to nature into a pattern for your most precious resource. When you guard your time with that pattern, you're doing more than managing a calendar. You're composing a life in harmony with the universe itself. Your time is something you can spend, but you can't earn it back. That's the core idea, and Stoicism takes that fact which could make you anxious and turns it into something you can use. It starts with remembering you won't live forever. That's Memento Mori. It creates a kind of urgency, but a quiet one. Then there's the dichotomy of control. You learn to put your energy only into what's actually yours. Your judgments, your actions right now in this hour, and from there you build a kind of inner fortress through daily practice. You guard your attention. You keep it from being sieged by distraction, by wanting things that aren't yours to have. This isn't about cramming every minute with busyness. It's about making sure your minutes, whether you're working or resting or with someone, are spent with intention. That they align. You start to see your hours as the raw material, the sacred material for building a life of character. Seneca put it well. He said the problem isn't that we have a short time to live. It's that we waste so much of it. A life that's lived well is long enough, but a life spent in confusion, in busyness, that life is short, no matter how many calendar years it covers. The measure isn't the years you endure. It's the moments you actually claim. So as we finish, take that idea and look at your own situation. If you started guarding your time today using these Stoic ideas, what would shift first? Maybe you'd take back one quiet hour in the morning, or you'd stop a habit that drains you, or you'd finally have a conversation you've been avoiding. That one change is where you'd begin. It's your first act of sovereignty over your most precious resource. We'd be interested to know what that change might be for you. If you have strategies or that first step, share it in the comments. This community learns from each other, and if this perspective was useful, you can subscribe. For more on living with purpose and with calm, thanks for spending this time here. However you invest what comes next, may you do it with great care.